My name is very manly. My name is Dominique Alonga.
Yeah.
Sometimes you remove that small uwase. For what?
Yeah.
And you send that email.
Then they call you and go like, hey,
and you show up and they're like, at the reception, they're like, sit over there. I'm like, no, this is me.
This is, yes.
And deal with those reactions, because some people sent me back.
Yeah. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Evolve TV. It is always a pleasure having your company. If you have not subscribed yet, please do so. How many times do you want us to remind you? You better do it, because that's the date. You will get our notifications each time we have a new program uploaded. And this afternoon, we have the greatest pleasure of having with us a young, amazing, phenomenal woman, lady, girl. Where are you?
All of that.
All of that, right?
All of that.
I love that, you know? She's phenomenal. She's every single thing. And young, even that makes me feel like a grandmother interviewing a grandchild that is like more successful than her. And you're wondering, what did I do with my years? Welcome to Evolve TV. My name is Jackie and our guest this afternoon is Dominique Alonga. I have not seen you for ages.
I know. It's so good to see you. Eh?
So good to see you. How have you been?
I've been good. That's a good intro that you have right there.
Yeah, you want to buy me lunch for that?
Honestly.
You know? Yeah, it's not for free. Don't come for free. Thank you for honoring our invitation. Thanks for allowing us to have a chat. Mm-hmm. Yeah, how has the pandemic treated you, yours, and the business?
I mean, if I was to be honest, I'm very grateful. We're still running.
Yeah.
We still have our staff. We still have, you know, we're very hopeful for the year that we won't close.
Great.
But of course, it's really taken about maybe 30% of our revenue. Yeah. You know, it's hit us. It has, but we're still grateful, and it's pushed us to be a lot more creative.
Yeah.
Personally, obviously, being on lockdown, it was interesting. It was interesting.
Knowing you who never sits in one place more than 10 minutes.
It was interesting.
Yeah.
At least you know.
I know it. I'm surprised you haven't fallen sick.
Hey.
Or you went through that phase.
We went through all the phases with this pandemic.
Yeah.
But we're grateful.
Thank God it will soon be over. And as you said, we thank God that the business is still running. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about you, Dominique, for somebody who is watching and, you know, they get bits and pieces about you. They see you on TV, see you on social media, read interviews about you, but they do not know the depth of who you are. Who is Dominique?
That's a wide question though, right?
Oh, I don't like that question. Oh, man. But I just had to ask you.
You had to.
Yes.
It is what it is.
You know?
I mean, I'm a young person. I believe I'm young, even though, you know, my Indagamunu does not agree. But the face, believe the face.
No, you're young, no doubt.
I am Rwandan. I love being Rwandan. I love, you know, actually today we're celebrating our Independence Day.
Yeah.
So that's very exciting. I have 2 siblings and a wonderful mother. You know, it's very hard to talk about who I am. You know, I enjoy life.
Considering you look like a very serious person. Not you look. You are a very serious person. Yes. Is that something that you picked from your childhood? Did you come from a serious home where you and your siblings would be fighting over books as opposed to fighting over toys?
Okay, I am a nerd. I have to give you that.
Boy.
Yeah. I like books. But I'm not that serious. I feel like I laugh all the time. I'm so dramatic sometimes. Of all people, you think of okay. I'll take that. I'll take that. But I do love working hard. I think having grown up in Africa, you know, we all have either like a refugee parent or a survivor parent. So it teaches you some things. I think for me, it
hardens you.
It does. Hopefully not your heart though. You know, you gotta be soft in the right places. But having seen my mom hustle for us to stay alive, you know, to come here, to go to the best schools as she could, and to give us all of that alone, I think I inherited some of that, this spirit of like, I gotta first make her proud, you know, to have kept us alive. Like, imagine keeping alive a complete idiot.
Oh God, not an easy task.
You know, so, you know, trying to honor her fight, the fight of my family, the fight of Rwanda, really. And bringing my best on the table. But I also have moments of being completely silly with my dog out here.
Oh boy, you have a dog?
I do.
Okay.
But he's locked. He's fine.
On board.
Yeah.
At what stage did you bring upon yourself such a burden? You know, like, yes, at what point do you realize, I want to make my mother proud, my country proud, I want to stand out? Because you look like somebody who's so driven and was driven from a young age.
Right. I think it was books, I think.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know when you read a book and you're like, I can also do something with my life, you know? So I remember I came back to Rwanda after my studies in 2014. And I just, you know, there was this noise, this liberation, this young people, Rwandans coming back. It was this vibe. It was very contagious, by the way, you know, and young people were doing things and being alive and being happy. And then I was like, you know, man, I better get on with my life and do something. At the
yeah, like enough of this excitement. And,
everyone was busy creating. I remember Inkstain was one of the companies that I was very familiar with at the time. There was Chocolat, very young man. There was Inzuchi. There was so many people excited about work. K-Lab,
creating, you know, things.
And then I was like, what can I do? You know, what can I do? And so I tagged along with every one of them.
Wow.
And it took me a while to find my path, because originally what I wanted was to be comfortable at the workplace. And I had a good job, you know. And all I wanted was to host a massive reading event in Rwanda, in Kigali actually. It was called the Kigali Readathon, like a marathon, but for reading. And the library was like, we're busy. So
not available.
Yeah, not available. So I don't know what in me kept that idea going. And then we're like, no, we're still going to do this. We want to give prizes, scholarships to young kids from, you know, different economic background to go up, you know, and to make sure that reading is something that can actually make them go forward in life, you know. But the library was like, we're busy. And, you know, it made sense. So I was like, what do we do? So we decided to work directly with schools. Schools did not have books. So then we went back. I took a very small, simple video with my phone, posted it on YouTube. Within a month, we had collected 6,000 books.
Wow.
Yes. And it was watched, I don't know, maybe by not even many people, maybe 300-400 people. And then I was like, oh my God, I probably have to quit my job for this to be organized. So that's how the journey started.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so was that the inception of Imagine We Rwanda?
Yes.
Just at that point where you've got these books and you've got to organize yourself in order to distribute them and reach schools. Wow.
Yeah, so it really fell upon me. It wasn't like, oh, I have this brilliant idea. It was mostly
let's come up with a logo, let's register, let's do this thing.
It was lunch break. I was like, what should we call it? What should we call it? And people just threw out ideas.
Yeah.
And so it really fell upon us. And then we built the libraries. We had a library at my office as well, where we received about 80 kids a day.
Wow.
That was a very overwhelming. And then as we would leave them and go outside to, you know, talk about other things, they would say, you know what, this doesn't look like us. This doesn't look like us. You know, because we had books from Australia and the US and maybe Canada. So it was all...
Some of the stories were not...
it was snow,
relatable.
horses and things. And so when we would be in the room, the kids would feel very like, pretend like they're enjoying what they're doing. And then as soon as we would step out. So one time we heard them. And then I was like, what am I doing? So then we restructured and decided that we're going to make Rwandan books, and gradually replace our shelves with African content, gradually, because it's a long journey.
Yeah.
But that's when we decided, that was 2016, so I'm already 1 year into the work, and we have to pivot again. And the pivot was, let's honor these kids. The first book we released was All Rwandan Child. We're like, Rwandan, like you can dream. It's as Rwandan as you can get. For them to think, you know, I can also be a superhero. I can also be a princess. I can also be a creator. So that was, and then, you know, from there we decided, why don't we do more for teenagers, for adults, for young adults? You know, so it's been evolving. Evolve.
Wow. So what was the, oh yes, evolve, like our evolve.
Yes. See what I did there, yeah?
You know, I saw it, you were shocked. And so the bigger picture was library, bringing these children together, studying, and were you also thinking of tours, probably, were you intending to continue with the school tours and visits?
We're still doing donations in libraries. This is a sample of a shelf we built for a school.
Wow.
So we try our best to provide reading materials for schools. Now we're venturing into refugee camps. You know, we've done hospitals as well. So we're really trying to, because for me personally, it's the imagination that expanded from reading. I just wanted to share that. I just wanted to know how to share that. And I never expected it to hold as a company. You know, it was just a personal passion, and I'm very lucky.
You had the people's goodwill.
Yeah, yes. It's honestly, I'm very, very blessed and lucky to have a passion develop into something that generates money, that generates, you know, recognition, credibility. Yeah,
it's never a day at work for you. It's just something you do.
Yeah, exactly.
Out of love and passion. Well, so you said those are that is a sample of the shelves that you take to the different places, even hospitals. So you take and books.
So some schools have shelves.
Oh yeah.
Or they have a classroom, they just need books.
So those ones you'll just get books.
Yeah. Some schools, you know, trust us. They're like, you know, here is a room, do whatever you need to do. This was from White Dove. We did it in 2018. So we really work with the community. We're like, what do you want? Some schools don't have a room that can be a library, so we give them class sets. So they have, instead of maybe one day, instead of having science class, they have reading class. So they take a period, and they stay in their class. They just have the material. So everybody is very, everybody's different. Yeah.
Right. And so then, Dominique, so you moved from being an avid reader, somebody that just loved being surrounded by books, to now publishing. You recently released a book called Tracing the Cracks. Tracing the Cracks. Clearly? Yeah, so Tracing the Cracks. What do you write about? If first and foremost, it says Tracing the Cracks, a Rwandan story.
Yes.
You know, 100% Rwandan, true Rwandan.
Honestly.
Dying to tell the Rwandan story. So what Rwandan story are you telling in your latest book, Tracing the Cracks?
So it's been a journey, right? My writing journey have been very, at times, controversial. I don't think I'm
about controversial. You are.
I'm really just nice. You know,
are controversial,
I'm just
Dominique.
telling you guys, like, can we talk about this? I'm always ready for us to have conversations. But people aren't ready for some conversation. Anyway, so I started
you normally come like you're ready for war, not conversation.
You know,
there's a difference.
But so the first book I had written actually was called The Burden of the Saved. The Burden of the Saved was really cracking the codes of expats and local relations in the country. But it's all fictional, you know. The second one, I was like, let's go more Rwandan, because even in my writing journey, it's evolved from evolved. It's evolved from writing to prove my existence and the existence of Rwandans to the world. It's evolved from that to, you know, writing directly to Rwandans. So this book was, hey, let's talk about intergenerational trauma. Because I feel like the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi is like this ugly cake that no matter if you're born today in 2020, if you're born in 96,
Yeah.
you have to have a piece of that cake.
Sure.
You know, nobody runs away from that cake.
Even 2030, even the person who will be born in 2030.
You know, so we're all eating it. So why don't we talk about how terrible it tastes sometimes, you know? Especially since maybe a person who was born in 2020 has a different piece than the person, you know, just like a normal cake. You have a piece that has fruits on it and then, you know, so that cake is really what we're talking about here. Like, how do you inherit trauma? So it's a fictional book that follows a young woman who has a twin. They happen to, you know, have survived as very little babies, and they're watching their mom unable to move on, unable to live, you know?
Yeah.
So they have to work, you know, odd jobs, go to university, find ways to pay for university, but they're watching every day. How does it feel to see your mom a shell of a parent, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, of course, you know, you can't have a full novel without some sprinkle of love. Yes,
So you found an ideal love story to tell.
Small sprinkle.
So who falls in love with who?
So the main character falls in love with a human being who's in the book.
Okay.
You know? Also, you know, young people.
Oh, that's why you tell me, Jackie, go buy the book.
Yeah, buy the book and read it, please.
Why am I didn't write this story to then come and narrate every single thing.
But the
I'll buy
thing
it.
that I found personally even healing for me, because I wrote it during the commemoration period, was how do we talk about a young woman who falls in love with a person whose father was involved in 94. So that's the story, really. Like, how do you heal from that, especially since your parents were directly affected?
Yeah.
Do you forgive? Do you hold a grudge? And everything is allowed, you know? If you choose to not forgive, that's fine. And if you choose to forgive, that's also fine. Yeah. But how do we have this conversation? Because this is the way I wrote the book. It's like you live in Gisozi, you're going through the streets of Kigali, you know? We're seeing people drinking small Amstel. You know, it's us. Yeah. And how do we then talk about us in a way that is honest?
Yes.
But also
easy and understandable as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's really the story. But it's
and thank you for letting us in on your favorite drink.
No.
That's what you just did there.
What did you do to me? It's the drinks of the people.
No.
Made in Rwanda.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I was going to ask what motivates you to do this, but I think even from the beginning of the conversation, it's your love of sharing your experience, telling stories, just shedding light on what people go through every other day.
Yeah.
So that already answers the question. But as an entrepreneur, somebody who embarked on this journey at a very young age, what would you say are the challenges, the struggles that you've had to overcome to reach where you are? Someone is watching us and they're saying, oh, this lady, she's my inspiration. She's a hard one. She's successful. But definitely, you just didn't get there easily. There are a lot of things you've had to go through, people that you had to sit with and talk to, and places you had to seek support from. So how was that journey, entrepreneurship especially?
Again, I have to say that I'm very lucky, you know. So
and blessed.
Coming into this space, the country itself was opening up, you know. So the tourism sector was opening up. So I remember one of my mentors said, you gotta learn how to read the times. That's one of the things that I've taken with me. So at the time, my idea was, when we were switching and shifting to books, I was like, let's create such a quality that a tourist would be okay to say, this is a gift that I bought in Rwanda. And Rwanda was opening up as a tourist attraction. The parks were opening gift shops. There's, you know, so it's as much as, yes, I've spent sleepless nights, several of them, but it's good to premise this honoring the work that is done around you, you know? And I had entrepreneurs who, because our field, I wouldn't say I'm pioneering this, but
there are people before you.
Yes,
yeah.
there's very, very few people who are doing what we're doing, you know. So it's very self-taught, 100%, you know. So, but the help that we received was, you know, I'm a young woman. At the time, I was 22. And there was this, you know, women empowerment talk that opened a lot of doors for me that wouldn't have happened to, let's say, my mom, you know? So even recognizing that. But I had to show up. I had to show up every day. And I had to believe in what I'm doing.
That's important.
You know? It's very tempting, you know, to undersell yourself, undersell your idea. You go to a conference, you're like, you know, it's just a small thing that I'm doing, and you sabotage yourself. So I had to learn the hard.
People still do that until today.
Because it's like fake humility, you know, and it really kills you.
Yeah, so please come make a presentation. I'll buy you airtime, 20k francs. I'm like, yeah, it's okay. I'm giving you exposure.
Yes, do the thing, do the right
to understand
thing.
yourself is
show up. You know, I printed a business card when I had no business. I was just like, this is, I said, CEO.
Of what?
And founder. Oh, imagine
and you didn't have a business.
The logo was there. What's a business?
Oh, God.
You know? The first couple of days, I was like, I need to believe that the thing I'm talking about at night to my pillow can come to life. Can be
actualized.
You know, can be actualized. And I had to learn leadership. You know, at the time I had $1,000 that I had saved from my previous months at another workplace. So I had to learn how to lead a team beyond money. How do you pay staff with more than money? You know, because I didn't have money. You know, first of all, the money goes to rent and internet subscription and food for lunch. I wasn't touching a salary for the first, like, I don't know, 7-8 months of Imagine We. So learning those basic skills, leadership, learning to network, you know, learning to show up and believe in what you're talking about, because that's the first sabotage. You know, I was like, you're very dumb. You want people to read, and you think this is going to give you money.
You keep saying, oh, people do not read.
Like, think, like, where else, you know, at least be Mother Teresa, do this for free. You know, so shifting this mindset for me to actually say, how do we generate money? What other services do we give? How do we break down our services? Editing is a service. Be proud of that. Designing is a service. Laying out a book is a service. Printing is a service. Distributing is a service. But all of that, I didn't know. I thought, we're just making a book. And we're happy. People are reading. You know, you get emotional about your work, but you really have to find the right mentorship to make sure that you strategize your work. You know, you break down the processes. You charge the processes, you know, because taxes have to be paid. You have to participate in the country, you know, growing with you, you know. And then strategizing. So the book industry, when I started, there was Ichirezi and Caritas. That's it. And my goal was, how do we sell books? How do we sell 1,000 copies a month? So then we knocked everywhere. We're like, oh, you sell shoes, you can sell our books too. Oh, you sell plants, you can. We went everywhere and we built our own shelves in the beginning to say, please have this thing in restaurants everywhere. Wow. You know, and that was the way.
You had such a beautiful strategy. You went all out.
We're just like, okay, you know what? Nobody sells books here because obviously it's a shoe shop. But you know what? People who love shoes might love books.
Sure.
You know, and we created these types of partnerships because we were not going to wait for bookstores to open up. You know, so in restaurant everywhere, we sold books from Meze Fresh for a long time. You know.
Wow. And how long did it take you to sell 1,000 copies, 1,000 books per month?
So, you know, it's the support of people like you. You know, you invite me to a show and someone listens and they order for their school. They order for their school in the US for a class set.
Oh, so they'll take money,
so it just keeps going. It just keeps going, you know. We have the tourism sector really helped us. Akagera, I think, has 22,000 guests a year. And even us just having a shelf there was like it's just started happening. The Kigali Genocide Memorial has been one of our biggest supporters, and they have, I don't know, 10,000 to 15,000 guests a year. So it was those not limiting ourselves to, because I sat down and I was like, there's 2 bookstores. What the heck do I do with 2 bookstores?
Nothing.
And we even did door-to-door in these estates. We had to create spaces.
You had to find different ways of doing it.
We had to.
Wow.
Yeah.
What is the importance of a mentor to a young entrepreneur?
Mental health.
Mental health.
Hey, girl. It's always good to have someone.
Mental health, all right?
Mental health. That's why you need a mentor. Because it's good to have someone who's like, girl, imagine I did that and I had 4 kids. You reset yourself. You're like, oh my God, I'm not gonna die,
Yeah.
But also sometimes they give you those hard questions. I remember it's, and I love giving credits where it's due. Theo Gachire, he's our printing partner currently. He sat me down and he's like, listen, we just printed, I guess it was 3,000 books for you. Where are you going to sell them?
Yeah.
I was like, we're just going to, they're like, sit down right now.
Tell me where.
Tell us. Because we printed, but we want you to be able to come again. And since then, we've done quite a few books for them.
Wow.
With them. And he's like, you know what? Just be shameless. Just be shameless. If someone is selling urusenda, I think that's the word he said, they're selling hot pepper.
Tell them to sell books too.
Put your books there, And he sat me down, he's like, you know what, just don't be afraid. And it's people like that who say, you know what, I believe in what you're doing, It's people like the first lady who said, you know what, let me just hug this kid and say, you're doing okay, Bambi.
And that hug was powerful.
Hey, I was quitting. And she said, you know what, just come. Well, let's hug you. You're doing good work, we see you. And you're like, oh my gosh, if this person knows that I exist, I gotta push,
Sure. I can't stop here.
I can't, And you have mentors who just sit down and they're like, let me see your strategy. And you're like, I don't have a strategy. And then they say, I'm gonna volunteer 6 months helping you creating a strategy. Wow. So it's really important to, and also talk about the things that you want to do, like you believe that they can happen. Honestly, because
if you have self-doubt, then
if you're wishy-washy,
wishy-washy, nobody's gonna trust you.
I'm not gonna invest in your wishy-washy.
No. Yeah, talk like somebody who has faith in what they're embarking on.
Exactly.
You've got what it takes to make this happen.
Yeah, and sometimes you can finesse the game. My name is very manly. My name is Dominique Alonga. Yeah. Sometimes you remove that small uwase for what?
Yeah.
And you send that email. You show up and they're like, at the reception, they're like, sit over there. I'm like, no, this is me.
Yes.
And deal with those reactions, because some people sent me back.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, that's actually me. You've agreed to meet me at 11:30.
So you're going to meet me?
You're going to meet me. They're like, yeah, but I thought it was a man. I'm like, no, it's just me.
Yeah.
I'm a woman. Very small
And you do that deliberately. You live
you do the thing. Or you just put you know. So sometimes you just gotta, you walk with the times. You do what, you read people. You try. We go to these events, Youth Connect, Transform Africa. At first we were like, you know what? I have ideas to share. Put me on a panel. Put me on a panel. I was like, and because at first you can think, hey, our culture is like women should be humble. You're asking people to put you on a panel.
Exactly. Like what? Where did that come from?
But I had to. We had to. And then the second event, if they're interested, they're like, come back on the panel.
Exactly.
Like,
so
what?
You won't have to ask a second time.
Yeah. And you say, I want to stand. I want to stand. You're like, oh, but we
something bigger than the panel.
Like, yeah, I'm giving you my knowledge. So give me a stand. The second time you have a branded stand.
Oh, man.
And you just move.
Before you know it, you're being paid to do these things.
Yes. Heck yes.
What a life. All right. What do you do with yourself when you're not busy working? Do you have another life, social life.
Yeah, of course. I enjoy playing guitar. I enjoy spending time with my family a lot.
And
I have
your
crazy
dog?
cousins. And my dog, we walk, there's a forest right in front of the house. So we go run in the forest. I have 2 million cousins, to be honest. My mom has 10 siblings.
Oh, okay. Hey.
And they all produced.
Yeah. So you're quite many.
This house can be full sometimes. Overwhelming.
When you're not reading, creating, when you're not innovating, you're busy entertaining family.
Yes.
Yeah.
Entertaining is a strong word. Just being with them.
Or just being with them.
You know, I run a podcast with Aline. We talk about things, culture, just, I think I love exploring who I am. I learned something about myself that I didn't have last month or last year. I love reading about mental health. I love, expanding my brain, sharing what I've learned with other people, creating safe spaces. We have a lot of those different safe spaces that are popping up, for people who want to talk about, trauma,
issues, yeah.
And that's how even my book can be a tool. So we just, talk openly about things that we might not feel comfortable talking about otherwise.
Beautiful. We're told you cannot give what you don't have. So you've got to acquire enough knowledge, read enough books. It's the only way you'll be able to share what you have acquired. Thank you, Dominique. Where do we find the book?
So we have an app that we built during Corona.
Oh, you have an app.
Yes.
All right.
It's called Imagine Books. And you'll find plenty of books by Kenyans, Nigerians. So it's for Africans to write and publish their own work.
Great.
So,
Imagine Books.
Imagine Books.
Okay.
It's a beautiful, beautiful app.
Yeah.
Corona forced us to build.
Brought out all the creative juices.
You know it. Lockdown had to come out somewhere. We had to pay the bills.
You're crazy.
Electricity has to run.
Thank you, Dominique.
Thank you so much.
It's been a great pleasure sitting with you. Thank you so much. And download the app if you've not done that. Oh God, here I am. I'm telling you, subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't done that. Same me. Download Dominique's app if you haven't done that. Gosh, you will pay me for that too.
Yes.
We're hoping that you have benefited a lot from this conversation as a young entrepreneur. If you ask me, what did I learn from Dominique today? It is, you don't doubt yourself and expect someone to trust you. And if you're going to embark on any journey, you want to create something. First and foremost, believe in yourself. And when you go out there to talk to people about it, talk like someone who has a conviction, like someone who knows what they want to do, what journey they are taking. But the other thing, you should be aggressive. You should surround yourself with the right people. Find different resources in order to equip yourself, make yourself as knowledgeable as you can in your field, and always show up. Nobody will do your work for you. You will do it for yourself. My name is Jackie. Thank you for having watched today's episode of Evolve Rwanda. Our guest was Dominique Alonga, the founder and CEO of Imagine We Rwanda. Please find Imagine We Rwanda on the different social media platforms. And while you're at it, subscribe to our YouTube channel. God bless you.